Yo guys, welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about weapons that were broken in COD history. If you enjoy, please like and subscribe, and yeah, let's get into it. So, as a little bit of a preface, when I say broken, I mean actually broken, as in did something it wasn't intended to do, not necessarily overpowered. You got it? Anyway, let's get into it. So, first we're going to talk about the DMR-14 from Warzone 1. Now, if you weren't familiar, or weren't around at the time, Warzone 1's Cold War integration was very poorly executed. Camos looked crap, it was clearly rushed, and most importantly for this, a lot of the damage profiles were a bit off, to say the least. So, for example, a lot of weapons, I reckon, I don't know if this was ever confirmed, but the rumour was that it basically was just its multiplayer stats. Because multiplayer has a lower TTK, yeah, they all dominated. Now, an honourable mention can go to the FFAR, the M16, the AUG, and that Mac 10 version, that variant that actually had higher damage than the regular version. Those four guns, along with the DMR, terrorised Warzone, especially over those first few months of the Cold War integration. But especially over the Christmas break, as that was when the devs went away from their annual leave, meaning that they couldn't patch it even if they wanted to. Right, next, the Proteus from Infinite Warfare. Now, this was a DLC weapon, which was a shotgun sniper hybrid. Now, this sounds pretty dumb on the face of it, because the roles of both weapons are basically the complete opposite of each other. Now, there was a switch to turn the sniper to shotgun mode, or to sniper mode, vice versa, but when the gun came out, there was a massive problem that was pretty quickly worked out. It turns out that in shotgun mode, the range didn't exactly reflect that. In core, this was whatever, but in hardcore, this was insane. It was basically a point-and-shoot weapon. Now, to Infinity Ward's credit, this was fixed in a couple of days, and the process became kind of meh after that, but there you go, there's a little interesting bit of lore, I guess, for through lack of a better term. Next, the Javelin and MW2. Now, I originally thought against adding this one, because it wasn't actually OP by itself, and involved another glitch with Semtex. So if you aren't aware of this, there was a glitch in the original MW2, which would involve you throwing a Semtex, or at least going to throw one, and then just switching right back to your Javelin, which for whatever reason, basically made you a suicide bomber. Now, what this did is that you saw people going around looking to die. And the problem is, how the hell do you beat someone who is literally out there to die? I guess you could say. You know, as they say, someone with no one to lose is the most dangerous. Now, to give you a bit of a sort of like way to look at it, despite all of the problems happening internally between Infinity Ward and Activision at the time, they still found the time to patch this, which tells you a lot really about how bad this was. Next, the Brecci from BO3 with the jitter mod. So, now the Brecci itself was pretty good by itself. It was a typical semi-auto shotgun, which is pretty good. It gets the work done. But the gun had a massive problem due to the jitter glitch, which if you don't know was an exploit that allowed for a higher fire rate, and combined with the fact that the Brecci was pretty spammy anyway. Yeah, it dominated. The jitter glitch is probably the worst one on this list, mainly because it's not an exploit. It's not an oversight. It is like a full-blown glitch involving controllers, because you could buy controllers back then that did this for you. It did eventually get patched, but the Brecci is still pretty good in BO3 to this day. And finally, the FAL from MW2 with the shotgun attachment. Now, the underbarrel shotgun attachment in MW2 is not the best, to say the least. It was inconsistent, it had very poor range, its damage was kind of meh, and it was a hindrance most of the time, because there was a lot better options at close range. However, as they say, there is always an exception to every rule, and in this case, if you used a shotgun underbarrel on the FAL, it basically had unlimited damage and range, with more or less no drop-off. Now, this was insane, and honestly, if this was in any other COD game, this would have been very infamous, but to tell you the truth, this is actually probably less known because MW2 was not the most polished game ever, And B, there was just better options for what the FAL with the shotgun was good at, so maybe it wasn't as well known. But this was eventually fixed, as like the Javelin. So if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below what I should do next. And yeah, bye.